Welcome back. In this video, we are going to solve another one of the important programming challenge of Hackerrank. And name of this programming challenge is linked list detector cycle. In this programming challenge, we will get one linked list as an input and we have to provide a Boolean condition in return according to the linked list that we have provided. So by the name itself, you can understand that if the given linked list is provided a certain type of a cyclic format, then we will return true. Otherwise, we will return false. For example, let's say we have one linked list like this. Now, in this linked list, you can see that 3 points to 4, 4 points to 5, and 5 again points back to 3. So, some sort of a cycle is presented. Cyclic format is happening in this linked list. So, in this type of linked list, we will return true. Okay, but if any linked list will not provide any type of a cyclic format, in that scenario, we will return false. For example, here you can see that in this linked list, there is no cyclic. After 1, there is no linked list, so data we are seeing as null position. So here output will be. So this is our problem. Okay. Now the constraints of this problem is that size of the linked list will be start from 0 to 100. All right, 0 to 100. So that means linked list the given linked list can also possibility be null. Okay. So we understood the problem with the help of an example and we also saw the constraint. Now what we are going to do next we are going to solve this programming challenge with the help of Java language. So let's do that. So to solve this programming challenge, what we will do, we will take previous example as our input. Okay, so to find out this is a cyclic format or not, what am I going to do? I am going to initialize two variable. Variable name I will keep it as first loop and second loop. The default value of the first loop and second loop will be, first will be the starting position of the linked list. For example, if the given linked list reference name is head, then first loop default value will be head and second loop will point it out just the next position. Next will be next pointer of the linked list. Okay. So if we take this example, in this example, 1 will be the first loop and 2 will point out the second loop of the linked list. All right. Now, what will be the next thing that we are going to do? The next thing that we are going to do, we are going to start iterating the linked list. And this time we are going to iterate the linked list with the help of while loop. Okay. Inside while loop, I'm going to I'm going to move first loop with the 1 jump and second loop with the 2 jump. Not next 2 jump. So if I will again iterate this linked list, it will look like this. So in this loop, after the iteration, this one it will become first loop because it is given first loop dot next, and after that you can see the second loop will jump by 2. So previous one second loop is 2, so jump by 2, 2 or 3, 2 jump. So this one it will become second loop. Done. One iteration got completed. Now again while loop it is there, so again iteration is going to happen. So in the next iteration, this value will become first loop, and here from 2 it will move to 3, and here we can see that second loop at point at 5, so point at 4 position. So again 2 iteration jump is going to happen, so 4 5, so it will point to back to here 3. This will be second loop after the 2 jumps. You can see that from 4 it is there, 2 jump if I will make, second loop dot next 5, after that second loop dot next, it will point to 3. So here we can see that if we'll iterate the while loop by first loop by 1 jump and second loop by 2 jump, at certain scenario it will happen when first loop and second loop of list will be equal. So if the first loop and the second loop list will become equal, then that means it is a cyclic format. Okay, but if we found out that if this second loop or first loop became a null position, that means the cycle ends, it never matches that. So in that scenario we will return, instead of true, false. Okay, now what we are going to do, whatever the logic that what we have explained it here, we are going to write it into the Hackerrank console to see if our logic is correct or not. So let's go to the Hackerrank console. We are here now. First of all, we are going to initialize 2 values. Will be head.next. Okay, initialized. Now let's write the while loop. So we have to while loop iterate until and unless first loop equal to second loop. Okay, because if it equals, that means it is a cycle format. So if it's a cycle format, no need a while loop to iterate anymore. So in that scenario we can return true. Now inside the while loop I have to jump first loop with 1 position, second loop with 2 position. This much is done to find out the cyclic format. Now what if cycle does not exist in the linked list? In that scenario we are going to check if second loop equal to null or second loop dot next equal to null. So why I am checking both second loop and second loop dot next? Because here you can see that second loop we are moving into the next loop. So if this is the null position, we can return it false, and here we are jumping by 2. So there is a possibility before jumping into the next position, before that 1 jump only it is null. So that is also possible. So in that section we will check the 2 conditions, second loop or second loop dot next equal to null. In that scenario we will just return false. Okay, so we have completed our logic, whatever we explained in the diagram. Now if you will remember the constraint has written the size between 0 to 100. So that means there is a possibility this given input linked list, the reference, this head is itself is null. If head is null, that means there is no linked list exist. That means return true condition it will not be happen. By default we have to provide false only. So for that we don't have to use this much logic we have to write. So what we will do, we will check in the beginning only. In the beginning what we will check, if head equal to null. If it is null, just return false. That's it. So this is the complete logic that we have written to solve this programming challenge. Now what we will do next, we will just run the code to see the test case. Okay, here one error is coming. What is the error? Error is coming a 51 error, return 2. Okay, here I haven't provided. Now let's run the code again. Sample test case 0. So our logic is wrong. So let's find out what is the mistake that we have done. Condition we have providing it here. I have written here if first loop equal to second loop, then iterate, okay, but the actual condition it will be when first loop not equal to second loop, because before when it is not equal, then only we are giving outside, right? So I have done a mistake here, so I rectified my mistake. Let's run the code again. Okay, test case 0 got successful. Now let's submit the code. So both the test cases got solved. So we solved this programming challenge also. So also through that, this is the end of this video, and all the code, practice code that we have written here, I am going to paste it into the, I will give into the GitHub, and GitHub link I will provide in the description section. Okay. So this is the end of this video, and again in the next video we are going to cover another one of the important programming challenge of Hackerrank. So stay tuned and keep watching Adhyan channel. Thank you.